So we've got all of our wort inside of our carboy, and this is our yeast starter that we made from the wort that we initially boiled. So I poured out some of the wort earlier, so that way we only have a little bit, because this wort, or the beer that this yeast makes, ends up becoming really kind of funny tasting. So you don't really want to pitch a large amount of it inside of your beer, because it'll affect the flavor of your beer. They say more than 5%, and you don't want to go any more than 5% of the volume of your beer in terms of the amount of starter beer that you're adding in. So I actually have a little stir bar at the bottom of this, because I used it on my stir plate, and so I have a magnet here, and I like to grab it and stir it up with that real fast. It makes it easy on me, and it also lets me grab my stir bar out of the way. It's pretty nifty. It's just like a magnet that I got from Home Depot, I think, or Lowe's, something like that. Just a standard hardware store. So I'm just making sure all the yeast is, for the most part, off of the glass and whatnot, because you can really see it sticking to the bottom of the glass, and you want to use as much of the yeast as possible so you have a nice healthy fermentation on your beer. Now, I'm making a lager, and this might be heresy to some people, but I'm not going to ferment it cold. I ferment lagers at ambient temperature, because I've found that there's no difference. And I've also seen reports from other people online saying that they found no difference either. So as opposed to using a huge amount of yeast and a long amount of time, I use a pretty standard amount of yeast, and then ferment it for the standard amount of a week, and it tastes like a regular beer. It's pretty great. So we've got this guy all stirred up. All the yeast is in there. I'm going to sanitize this a little bit, make sure that's nice and sanitary. We've already sanitized our funnel, and another extra little piece of this just to cover the top of it while we wait, because why not? I'm going to put this on there. Put these over here for a moment. Put these over here for a moment. Make sure the top of this is nice and everything in here is sanitized. Spray bottle is your best friend when it comes to sanitizer, because it'll save you the amount of sanitizer that you'll end up using, and then it'll also just allow you to get sanitizer in a lot of different places very, very easily and efficiently. So that's awesome for that. So let's get all the yeast we can in there. It's kind of hanging out. Some of it kind of didn't want to fall in, but that's okay. There's plenty in there, I'm sure. It'll replicate. In the end, if you put yeast in your beer, or in your wort, it will eventually make beer. That's just how it goes. Yeast wants to make beer. So here's our airlock and sanitizer, which we're going to make sure is nice and sanitized. And we're going to put it on here. Very simple. Easy peasy. But now it's time to actually oxygenate this wort, because that's going to really help the yeast turn the wort into beer. So I just keep it sanitary, and I usually set my airlock down somewhere nice so it doesn't fall over. I'm going to have to fill it back up with sanitizer solution, but that's okay. I just block the hole up, and I shake the ever-loving crap out of this thing. Now, a lot of people do it a different way. I used to actually use an oxygenation system, but I found zero difference between that and this. So, just shaking it really good. Alright, that should be nice and sanitized. Or oxygenated, rather. So, gonna spray this down real good. Add some more sanitizer solution inside of it so that way it's basically to the fill line, which some of them have. Some airlocks do not have the fill line, but bada bing, bada boom. There is your yeasted beer ready to ferment. And it'll be done in like a week. But I'll probably let it sit in there for 2 weeks to finish out all activity, and then I'll keg it up and put it in my kegerator and have it ready to serve. Excited.